Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Special Finance Committee meeting where we will be discussing the Grant and Aid Program. I acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the traditional territory of the Sianu and South First Nations. The District of Metchosin is committed to reconciliation with Indigenous peoples, and we recognize, honor, and respect the presence of Indigenous peoples past, present, and future. Please be sure to have your cell phones turned off during the meeting. Committee, are there any additions to the agenda? There is one pink.
So moved with the addition.
Thank you. Moved by Mayor Little, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Carried, thanks. So we'll move on to presentations. We have, appears to be 7 people, 7 different organizations that wish to present this evening. You have 5 minutes each to speak. When you approach the mic, please state your name and the organization you're from. There's a little button, and when it's on, you'll see a red light go on. So the first organization I have on my list is Need to Suicide Prevention, Education and Support. Sandy Hodson, welcome. Push the button, please. There you are.
There. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. My name is Sandy Hodson. I'm the operations manager at Need to. Need to is a local nonprofit dedicated to preventing deaths by suicide and breaking the silence and stigma around mental health.
Just move your mic up just a little bit, please.
Yep. Is that better?
Does that work? This sounds.
Oh, okay. Like this? Okay. Do you want me to restart? How did you hear my beginning? Okay. My name is Sandy Hodson. I'm the operations manager at Need to Suicide Prevention, Education and Support. We're a local nonprofit dedicated to preventing deaths by suicide and breaking the silence and stigma around mental health. We do this through our in-school education workshops, our community trainings, and our support group for adults bereaved by suicide. Today we are requesting funding to support our in-school education programs. So we run mindfulness programs in grade 6, and this following year we're going to be introducing an elementary school mindfulness program as well, to introduce students to the basic concepts of mindfulness, to use tools to help with difficult emotions and build resiliency. Then in grade 8 and high school, we introduce our C workshops, which is suicide education and awareness. And so these workshops are all about just normalizing having open conversations about mental health, how to recognize signs of struggle in themselves as well as in their peers and friends, and steps they can take to reach out for support, as well as resources that are available to them both in their school and the broader community. These programs have really shown to increase both the students' confidence in reaching out for support themselves, as well as supporting their friends and peers, as well as increasing the comfort that the teachers have broaching these topics and supporting the students in their school as well. Yeah, so any questions about our programs?
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for this. I just wanted to note that the Victoria Family Court and Youth Justice has grants available, and they're up to, actually there's no ceiling. They're typically $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. This would be also a perfect organization for that as well.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for sharing that.
The municipalities contribute, all the municipalities within the CRD contribute to that committee.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Juan Fuca Performing Arts Center Society, David Stocks.
Thank you. This is not my first time appearing before this body. Metchosin has supported us very pleasantly for several years. And this time we are asking for financial support for our workshop, in which we invited all our potential customers, the people who would use the art center, to present ideas to a group of architects And we had a workshop. The keynote speaker was a gentleman with a strong track record in raising funds for such similar art groups. And we had a firm of architects who, to my absolute amazement and delight, were able to pull together from all these different voices. You know, a theater group wants this, a choir wants that, a dance group wants the other. They were able to make a couple of sketches of credible buildings. It was delightful. We're going to present their results in a gala after the summer break, a gala event, which I hope you will attend. And by the way, we are enormously grateful that we have a councillor on the intermunicipal committee who's attempting to, who will, I trust, solve issues such as where should the centre be located. We have asked for $300 of support to help recover from the costs of our workshop, or our customers told us what they wanted. And of course, their customers are the individual citizens. So we hope within a reasonable period of time to be having a big construction project, which the chosen citizens and contractors certainly can assist with, and then to have a West Shore home for the arts and make a dramatic reduction in the number of car trips back and forth from the West Shore into Victoria to see shows, live shows, real shows put on by people. Are there any questions?
Committee, any questions? Mr. Stock? Councillor F.
Thank you for coming. I was at that workshop. I couldn't stay for the whole day, but it was there. It was extremely well attended with a huge range of artsy types from pretty much every endeavor around, and it was good. And so hopefully eventually things will work out, because we certainly need a mid-range or small type theater in the West Shore.
Thank you. Those are very kind words. And it was amazing to see how the architects could have from all these different people to say, well, okay, well, we'll do this and we'll do that. And they made these sketches. It was magic. Thank you for being there.
Councillor Gray.
So maybe I could just ask through the chair, and thank you for the presentation and the notes. So the workshop has already occurred?
The workshop has occurred.
Yeah.
Yes, and there was about 75 people there. Some were insiders, our actual customers, the performers and whatnot, numbered about 60.
And so were you seeking assistance for the workshop that's already happened, or the development of
The workshop has already happened. We have a bit of a hole in our finances, and we're asking for you to shovel a little green stuff into the hole.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Metchosin Equestrian Society, Anna Whiten.
I am not that tall.
Look, you turn back on. Yep, there. Good. Let's go.
All right. Hello, I'm Anna Whiten. I'm with the Metchosin Equestrian Society. I am representing a society that has over 100 members that are active at this time. A good portion of them are from our community and Souk. We have some members that are participating in our events as far away as Comox now. So it's become quite the active community in the past 2 years at the Metchosin Equestrian Society's arena area. What we are asking for is assistance in putting together temporary stalls. We've already purchased the stalls ourselves as a club at about $2,000. We require assistance in funding or in aid support for the footing and the roof. Right now, we can't actually use the stalls as they are because there's no protection from the elements in that we just have walls. The stalls will be available to the community for our events, but they will also be available for emergency preparedness. So the big lack of resource that we have right now is a capability to house animals in the event of a barn fire, a flood, downed fencing. We need a space that could potentially be used to store animals safely in a manner that is not the arena. The arena is not an emergency preparedness device or capability that we have right now. Putting sheep in it would not keep the sheep in it for long. They will escape, which will just further drain resources from our community in trying to recapture said sheep or whatever. The temporary stalls that we have purchased were designed for horses and to be safely used for horses for weekends or up to a week. It's not a humane way to store animals or to house animals, so we're just using it for emergency preparedness and day use for our events. That's our vision anyways. Why this is important for the emergency preparedness is that we have no capabilities nearby. Luxton Fairgrounds no longer has capabilities for housing. Souk Saddle Club no longer has a facility. The nearest emergency shelter that is publicly available and usable is the Saanich Fairgrounds and Duncan in Couch and Exhibition Grounds. So we have nothing nearby. High Point was closed earlier this year. We have nothing close. So it's a bit of a concern. Since we made our grant application, we've also received our bills, or our estimates for the work that was required for the maintenance and repairs on our grandstands. So our finances have enough to just cover that, but we have nothing left to further our community outside of what we have. So we have $10,000 in our bank account, which is going to go right back into the grandstand repairs. And then we have nothing left to add towards furthering the footing or roofs for our temporary shelters that we've already purchased. So that's me. If you have any questions.
Committee, any questions for Ms. Whiten? Councillor.
I just wondered, how are you planning on anchoring the stalls to the ground?
So they are very heavy. Gravity is going to do a good work of that. They're designed to actually lock together. So it's going to be 6 stalls that are going to be basically held down by the sheer weight of it. Each panel is about 200 pounds. And then when you factor that in to the, I believe it's 21 panels in total to make the configuration, it's several thousand pounds. It's not going to blow around. They're designed to be put in a field.
Councillor Schuch.
Great. Through you, Councillor Donaldson. Thank you, Ms. Whitten, for the presentation. Quick question, the dimensions of each. So you said panels for 6 stalls, I think. So general dimensions for?
Each stall is 10 feet by 10 feet. And it would be set in a 6-pack, so 3 long and 2 deep. So the footprint itself will be 20 feet by 30 feet. I'm going to be doing another presentation in about a week. Stay tuned, where I'll be presenting our location with the site plan and all the rest of the further details. But we're proposing to put it in between the grandstands and the farmers market area, behind the memorial of benches. So it's in a safe, fairly unused location at this time.
And these would be permanently there, or they're?
The temporary stalls are just that. They can be set up permanently. We would ideally like to have them set up permanently, so if it was an emergency, we don't need to hook up the tarps and whatnot. Our budget right now is based off of a permanent roof, similar to what the farmers market has used, so that there's a visual cohesion, and it's not. The other option would be a tarp roof, and judging by the windstorm that we had pretty much all day today, and pretty much every other day this month, that would be less than ideal, and it would not last for any length of time. We want it to be permanently set up, so if there is an emergency, we don't have to set it up in a rush.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Metchosin Preschool Society, Tara Townsend.
Hello, everybody. My name's Tara Townsend, current preschool president. It's a bit of a game of hot potato at times, otherwise kind of gratefully passing it on to the preschool to be the president. Right now, it's a bit of a hot potato, I gotta say. So I'm here tonight to ask for some funds just to help us with our door installation for our egress for the preschool, kind of to connect us more to the community when the children are there, to have like an easier exit and entrance, especially if there's like a quiet event going on next door or an event going on in the gym, just so we can keep the kids safely and quietly in and out. Also just for opportunities, like, we're looking at doing possibly hot dogs for the MACA event, their Festivus, and just kind of having that ability to have people come into our classroom and kind of see that here we are, the kids can come out. It gives us like a bit of extra breathing room for kids having a meltdown in case they need to step out instead of stepping into a hallway. So it really kind of creates a much better suited childcare space. We're also looking at kind of upping we've decided like tuition, what we are is definitely not for everyone. We're not childcare. We're a child enhancement for families that have really decided to put those 0 to 5 years and stay at home and put their time into kids who hopefully will be also involved in the community and contribute. So we kind of have a niche little market there. And so getting our tuition up, we've decided is not really our best kind of viable option, especially with the opening of a childcare center at Hans Helgeson, and hearing the preschool with the ponies even is struggling right now. So we're kind of looking more into what we are, which is a family-based, kind of community-based. Kind of in the community, open, kind of people can peek in, people can walk by on their way to pickleball and kind of see, oh, there's the kids, that's what they're doing, check in, have a little conversation with these future members of our community. I'd like to say lots of our core parents that I see later on at Hans Helgeson, on the PAC, involved out there volunteering, have been co-op preschool parents. I'm kind of at the tail end of my preschool career, thankfully. Audrey's going into the 4th class this next year, and that's my youngest. But I see how these families that have gone through are the community builders and are involved and putting their time out. And yeah, I'm hoping the door will continue to involve us in the community. Yeah. Any questions?
Committee, any questions for Ms. Townsend? Go ahead, Mrs. Councillor.
Yeah, I just wanted to verify, because on your application, I think it was actually from last year, it was for the playground.
Oh, does it say the gravel on the playground?
Yeah.
That's, once again, the really fun part about the preschool is it is this continuance where it's passed on from parent to parent. I'm not sure why it says the gravel. Our gravel does need updating too. I think there was a shift. It was supposed to be shifted to be kind of contributing towards the door. Our gravel.
But it's actually the door that you're...
It's not so much the door. It's for the, we have the additional, because we weren't, the room that we have settled into and added sound baffles and all these enhancements to, it needed updating. Like, so the door was one of those enhancements, but then as soon as we had an architect come in, it was like, oh, we need light and we need an electrical engineer. So instead of having the 10,000 we had estimated for the Miroslav architects to come through, it had doubled, which the preschool we have luckily had received many generous grants from Victoria Foundation and the government, but this, we kind of just got a bit above and beyond with the additional of installing the lighting. So to have an actual electrical person come in and install our like egress lights needs to be done now in the hallway to update that space. So it will be an enhancement to that classroom, which stays in the district's hands forever. But yes.
Sure, thanks.
Councillor Shukin.
So thank you very much for the information. Quick question I might ask our CAO for confirmation on this. Where are we at in terms of approval of the door? Have you received confirmation from the district that this can go ahead?
My understanding was the door was approved. I've kind of clarified that several occasions. My idea was that the door has been approved. You were waiting for the actual architect plans, which are being submitted, I believe, this week. It has been actually a long, drawn-out process now with the architects that we've engaged. The plans should be within this week. I'm kind of juggling. Mike Vandewater is kind of our building committee guy, so he's also a busy guy, so sometimes things, once again, in the telephone tag, so.
Okay. And thank you, Ms. Townsend, because there's a bit of confusion because we were talking about an entry. We still are, the Village Square project. Things have changed, I think, in terms of the building configuration on the inside, so I was not clear on where we're at in terms of the front entry. So,
Yes, no, my understanding is there's lots of doors. There's doors everywhere. And when you go there, there is doors to the left, there's doors to the front, there's literally doors anywhere. There's not one that specifically goes into the classroom. And the value for the preschool and for that room is having an egress, especially if there's a childcare, anything in there, whether it's a summer camp, anything, preschool using it to have that separate entrance, especially when you have young people involved, hopefully, in what's going to be a fabulous, busy community center at some point, is a huge thing to have it kind of separate so you don't have children. I don't know what children in hallways is, just always a combination of running and skipping, you know what I mean? As long as you get into a long, smooth thing, children tend to,
do what they want to.
do what they want to.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, Reimagine West Shore Society, Shannon Carmen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shannon Carmen. I am the Vice President of Reimagine West Shore. We are an organization who started a couple of years back, hoping to empower people. People are feeling fairly low about the world in many ways these days, and our idea was instead of just talking about things, we were going to empower people to lead greener lives, learn how to save some money, and build some community whilst doing that. So for the past few years, we've been putting on events like Repair Cafe that happened in Metchosin. We've now done one in Colwood and Langford as well. We put on our second CD Saturday on in Langford, where we had a lot of involvement from Metchosin growers and Gary Fletcher with his bees and all kinds of Metchosin engagement. We just had a sewing workshop, which was the second one over at the old school at MACA just yesterday, which was super well attended. We put on any number of food processing workshops, teaching people canning and learning how to cook from scratch. We've done 2 clothes swaps, community clothes swaps for Metchosin at the old school just before Christmas, which were hugely successful. So trying to encourage people to buy or not buy new or fast fashion and enjoy gently used things. So we are asking for your support. Any amount of money that council gives us will put into general operating for Reimagine. We're completely volunteer run, and we're always open to meet new people, get new ideas, and see new things in the community. Our biggest project right now, I've got a few posters. Repair Cafe coming up, and then I want to just draw your attention to the Tomato Challenge and our Farm to Fork project, because that's the one specifically for this year that we've been working with Councillor Donaldson and the Agricultural Select Committee putting this together. So the tomatoes, we got a bunch of tomato starts from Souk and Metchosin and have been giving them out for free in the community at the Luxon Fair, at our upcycled show we did with Royal Bay students, where we had over 200 students take part in that, where they were showcasing upcycled art that they created. So we were giving tomato starts out there, just encouraging people to try growing food and see how easy it is, and that could be done on a deck as well as in the garden. So that piece, we've been giving out tomato starts, and then we've put together a farm to fork map. So this is an update on the map that was put up by Metchosin Grown a number of years ago. I want to say like 10 years ago. ish, 12? Two? Really? Oh gosh. So this details farms as well as food producers and places like the Goldstream. My brain has gone blank. No, the food bank. The Goldstream Food Bank. Showing people where they can access food and local food, and not just for folks who have, the money to put towards the higher price point, but also people who just want to be able to access just general food security. So this map is its first printing. It will no doubt evolve as we get more feedback. We've had some feedback just that we could put things into categories, right? Like have farm categories and then shop categories and things like that. So we're always open to suggestions and we're always evolving. So that's us.
Committee, any comments or questions for Ms. Carvin? Councillor Shukin.
Just to compliment, Reimagine's done great work over the last little while, and you see the posters on a regular basis, and it's a great work with, all the work you're doing.
Thank you. We have a gifted graphic artist who does our stuff. The retro, you can do it kind of vibe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so South Island Farmers Institute, Katie Underwood.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Probably a bit too loud. I'm delighted to be back here in Metchosin Council. It's a delight to see you all once again. I'm here from the South Island Farmers Institute. We are a group of food floral fiber producers who are producing on South Vancouver Island. We welcome anyone from a small leasing farmer like myself to Sea Bluff Farm, who's here in Metchosin, Terry and Jenny Mitchell. We just really love being able to provide education to our farming community. And we've been in operation for about 2 years now, and we've had roughly, I believe, 26 community events, which include everything from the really big Farmer to Farmer, which is a week-long conference, to our innovation series, which is summer field trips, a business series where we get to crunch numbers, and my personal favorite, the Sustainer series, where we welcome a sustaining farmer that's been farming in community, some for generations, some for decades, and they share their successes, their challenges, and their family history. And so because we are a group of volunteers and we have relatively low operating costs, we're just really, really blessed to be able to raise up our local community. We can give honorariums to those that are educating our community. And so, for example, in September, Robin's going to be teaching us a workshop at Sea Bluff, all about just winter farming and getting us all ready for that. It's just a delight. So we feel so grateful to have the support of Metchosin, and I believe we will be presenting to you in a couple weeks also, just really getting down to the nitty-gritty of our programming. But since our impetus meeting that we had in April of 2023, we've grown to about 80 members, and we have food producers, big, small, like I mentioned before. We also have community organizations that are also welcome to join us. They get to participate in the educational opportunities we have. We don't cater our education to those community members, but we just really want them to be able to see what our food producers are needing to learn. And so that's been really, really quite beautiful, because there's been a lot of producers who have taken upon themselves to work collaboratively with those organizations if they see that that fits their business model. So it's been lovely for me being able to see that, being able to help organize the education that our community really has been missing since 2018, when the last Farmer to Farmer was. So we just really appreciate Metchosin's rich agricultural history. We love that you guys have so many fantastic producers here. It's just so overwhelming and fantastic. So yeah, thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Probably missed a bunch of stuff.
Any questions for Ms. Underwood committee? I don't have any questions, but I do want to commend you for the work that you have done across the region and being a voice for the farmers. As we know, food security is at risk on our island. We've found that out through the pandemic. So your constant education has been fantastic. I was privileged to be asked to be a speaker last year for just a short segment at the conference. I missed it this year due to a livestock incident that left me injured. So I missed the whole thing this year, even this in the series. So I look forward to that in the future.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so I just want to thank the presenters for all your presentations this evening, putting your information together into our package, and engaging Metchosin and collaborating over time. Oh, we do have one more, sorry. Vancouver Islands South Film and Media Commission. Tara Lee Novak. Thank you.
That's okay. Thank you for having me. I am Tara Lee Novak. I'm relatively new. I started in September. You would have worked with Kathleen Gilbert. She was in the role for 14 years. I've been a TV producer for 15 years. I've done government communications, and this role is an intersection of government and production, and it feels familiar. I'm very, very grateful to be here tonight. There's so many noble causes here tonight that you can invest in, and I think our role at the Film Commission, we are a nonprofit economic development office. So in 2024, you invested $2,000 into the Film Commission, and we turned that into $9 million across Metchosin and Esquimalt across 241 businesses. So that report came from the Motion Picture Association. That's a list of all the studios, Disney, Warner Brothers, and they said that's how much we spent in that riding. So that's crew wages, hospitality, restaurants, construction, retail. These are trucks that need to gas up. And our core service is managing a database. So we have 2,500 registered locations. That means if you are a property owner, residential or commercial, you let us know that you're interested in being considered for film projects. We come to your location, we take a bunch of photos, we put it in our database, and then the next time a producer calls us, which is every single day, they send us their script, and we break it down and say, here's the locations that we recommend in the South Island. And then we market the South Island in general. You don't want to go to other places in the world. You want to come to the South Island. It's very convenient to get to a variety of looks. It's a world-class city. We have world-class crews. These are like the key messages that we're sharing with producers. And I'm so encouraged by 2025 so far. We have a major feature filming in this area right now. We have 2 movies of the weeks filming right now. And in about a couple weeks' time, 3 more go to picture. So that includes a show on Global called Private Eyes. It stars Jason Priestley. The show ran in Toronto for 5 years, or 5 seasons, I should say. And the character, Jason Priestley's character, moves to Victoria. And this is such like a rare opportunity to showcase our city as itself. It almost never happens. But it gives you a sense that like Victoria and South Island are on the map, and audiences are demanding it. So we are very busy. And when you invest in the Film Commission, like I said, we help attract bigger projects to help the communities shine. So I'm told that Oak Bay takes the money that they get from parking permits and film permits and location permits, like you could rent out this room, and they invest it into their arts program. So you can create a circular economy through film specifically. And I would have shared our year-end report with you. I'll flip it to you again tomorrow morning, because our wins are the municipality wins. We can't do it without you. And we have some pretty impressive stats. So on average, annually, the film sector generates $60 million for the South Island. I think in terms of the other things that I personally love about film is sometimes film triggers community assets. So what I mean by that is last month we had an electric battery workshop, And that's because we would like to see more movies use electric batteries as opposed to diesel. That means that if you're filming in a community like Metchosin, it's cleaner, it's quieter. But that also means that other people in the community can use those electric batteries or those electric tie-ins. So in the North Island, they share their electric batteries from the films with search and rescue. So again, sometimes films help trigger new assets and new initiatives, but they are meant to be community assets. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions, committee? Very little.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. We had heard from the South that there was going to be incredible tariffs on the film industry of anything that was not filmed south of our border. I'm just wondering if you've heard of any softening of the industry, or to the contrary.
So the World Trade Organization has a moratorium against tariffs for digital transits, I should say. Films are delivered digitally, so the film sector is wondering how the president could change that. That moratorium is in effect until the end of 2026, and it's been renewed for the last 25 years. That's one thing. Tariffs tend to be on goods. It tends to be services that create the films and not goods. We no longer really rely on DVDs, right? They're digital transitions. So there's a lot of complicated nuances that we're just waiting and monitoring. But our phone hasn't stopped ringing. People still want to come here. And it's just helped me identify, I've made a lot of development communications with other parts of the world just so that we're prepared.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I noticed everyone's staying, and I am going to make an exit. It's my son's 5th birthday right now. I'd love to have some cake with him. Yeah. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Okay, so we have a report here from our CFO, Jeffrey Creek, who is absent this evening. He's at a conference. I suspect that the committee has read through the report as well as all of the submissions. And
Councillor Donaldson, sorry,
yes, sorry.
Public participation.
Oh, good grief.
It's okay.
Thank you. I'm looking at the clock. So, okay, yeah. Public participation, let's not forget everybody. Anyone from the public that is here that would like to address the committee, please.
Gary Lamb, Hackmore Drive. Just on the scoring matrix for the various initiatives, the one for funding amount versus numbers served, the numbers served, is that Metchosin residents? My question. And then the other point I would make is the weighting. In the 1 to 2 point category, it says high cost per residence greater than $20. Well, $20, how high does that go? And it still scores 1 to 2 points, which seems to raise some questions. So, thank you.
Thank you. And we have no other general public here, so we can move on to.
Excuse me, could we ask the CEO just the question of the question that was asked?
We could do that as we go into the report, perhaps.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So on page 3, we have, as I was starting to say, a staff report to the grant aid application review. Pat, can you address the first question we have from the public and then help us through this, please?
Yeah, thanks through the chair. It is for the service of Metchosin residents. I'm not sure about the scoring question. I didn't quite understand it, but we can get back to the resident on that one. And then for council, recommendation is to choose one of the 3 options. As far as the scoring boxes are concerned. So it's basically laid out in the 3 boxes and delineated appropriately. So at this point, you've heard all of the discussion from nice presentations, which I thought were great. And it's up for council's decision.
Okay, so the committee will need to address the grant and aid options this evening to enable us to ratify them in the following council meeting. This is required due to the cancellation of the June 2nd meeting and allowing our finance staff adequate time to process the corresponding checks. So the final decisions will be this evening. So the process is a little different this year than we've done in the past. We have created a matrix and a scoring mechanism to accompany that. Mr. Creed has put together 3 options. The first one actually has an alternate option within it as well, so that is something to consider. So the funding option number 1 is to fund the highest scores. So his notes here are that if full funding was given to the organizations that scored over 80, that would result in a payout of $3,500 or 70% of the total funding to 3 organizations. The alternate to that is that the district could also, or could fully fund the next 2 highest at 79 points because they were so close, resulting in an additional $750 to be paid out at for future requests, which sometimes we do get in the fall for various one-off requests. So that's the first option. The second option is funds of funding scores that were up to 70 points out of 100. If council wanted to fund everyone with a score of plus 70, 4 groups would receive their full request, while the remaining 5 groups would receive anywhere from 13.8% to 69% of the requested amount. This would result in no funding available for the rest of the year. And it's laid out in each table as to how that has been chosen from our staff. And the third one is to fund every group as we have done in the past. Again, 4 groups would receive their full amount of funding, and it's marked with an asterisk. The rest would receive a portion of, whether it's 11% or 55%, with no funding remaining for the rest of the year. Discussion. Mayor Little.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to commend the CFO for the scoring matrix. In the past, we've sort of done it willy-nilly, and I think this is more of a evidence-based approach. I liked the scoring matrix, and I'm inclined to do the third option, which is fund every group. Thank you.
Councillor.
Yeah, I would definitely go for either second or the third option, but one of them concerns me a bit, and that's the Compost Education Center. They didn't come tonight with the presentation, and in looking at their financial records, their payroll amount is more than $300,000. And that just seems to me, given that most of the groups that we have here are either all volunteer run or on a bare minimum of paid employees. I don't know, it just concerns me a bit. That seems like an awful lot of money in payroll, and I really don't know what it's for, like how many educators they have, you know, who's hired, and anyway, that one just concerns me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Councillor Gray.
Yeah, thanks to the CFO for the matrix. That's nice to have something to work with. Mr. Lamb's raised some interesting questions, and I imagine a helpful comment from our CAO to say that the mention of residents, or the benefit is to the residents in Metchosin with the numbers that you use to calculate things, so that's helpful. And I guess the difference of the $20, we can find out later, but we can at least understand that it's more than $20 as a high cost per resident under the matrix system. When I'm looking at it and thinking about the needs of the organizations, I think option 1 would be the best in the sense of fulfilling the requests that have been made. but I would take the variation that the CFO has put before us, which is to add the next two highest scores. So that would add the South Vancouver Island Farmers Institute and Access West Shore Society. And then I would probably include then the Juan de Fuca Performing Arts Society for its full amount. And that would leave us with $250 in the kitty.
Councillor Shukin.
I would speak in favor of option 3, especially based on just some of the input we've had today. I think all of the organizations are highly worthy. So, and again, thanks to Mr. Creek for putting us more of a data-driven, layout of options for us.
Councillor.
Yeah, I think I think I would go with option 3 as well, just because the scoring is certainly subjective. And for example, with the Humane Society under the community engagement and impact, they didn't score the maximum 8 for the level of public access and participation or the demonstrated support from the community, even though, according to their records, approximately 1,500 Metchosin residents have either been involved with the Humane Society through adoption or through fostering animals. Well, that's about a third of our population, so it seems to me that is pretty good public participation and involvement. So yeah, I wouldn't like to really cut anybody out of the funding. I know I wish we actually had remained at $10,000, which we had for 1 year there, and not cut it down to 5, because it would be really nice to be able to give these organizations a little more support, because they're all very worthy.
Councillor Gray. Go ahead, Marilyn.
Yeah, no, I was just going to make a resolution that council, the finance committee, adopt option number 3 for the grant and aid.
Okay, I kind of want to make a comment too.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what I wanted to say as your chair and as a person that initiated the review of doing a criteria and a matrix and worked closely with Mr. Creek on this was so that we would be able to have a more substantial critical analysis, I guess, of each person that comes to us. We had previous council had, just as they had left their term, increased it $10,000. We chose to pull it back at the beginning of our term due to the fact we had unknown concerns of how much we were going to play into things like policing. So that's why we pulled it back. And since then, there's been no suggestion to actually increase it, whether it's lack of interest or lack of funds, I don't know, but at each budget session, no one has suggested we go back up to 8 or 10,000 or more. I did want to say also that I appreciate the first option with funding the highest scores, but also the ones that everybody was quite close. And I think that just taking the second part of that, where we have some funds left for a future request, but also acknowledging that it would be 5 people or 5 organizations instead of the 3, still covers off a lot of the services that benefit our community, which we couldn't do without just being a community on its own in the rural sense of how we live. As an example, when we put the matrix together, one community, all their services had to come from the community and stay in the community, and that was more of an urban, rural context. We don't have the ability to have services like a needs crisis line, so to speak. We have to go to other communities and organizations across the region. region. So this is what opens it up, makes us a little bit more unique, and our requirements to suit the to provide services for our community. So I'm kind of like with Councillor Gray in there, that, you know, number one really does cover off the goal that we had actually set out to obtain with having the criteria that we had put some time and energy into, and I think that we've actually achieved that with the alternate option, or the one and only option in the first one, which is the funding of the highest scores, including 5 organizations. So, Mayor Little, you had a resolution that your motion that you wanted to make.
Yeah, I would just like to move the third option to fund every group for the grant and aid for 2025.
Motion by Mayor Little, seconded by Councillor F. Discussion?
Well, sorry. Well, thanks for just speaking to the development of the criteria for a moment, Councillor Donaldson. I appreciate that. What strikes me is, I'll go with if there are arguments in favor of going for every group, we can do that. I just think that we put a lot of somebody, yourself, Councillor Donaldson, the CFO, put a lot of work in putting a matrix together, and what we're going to do with the motion is ignore the matrix and just give everybody the money. So we didn't really need to set up the criteria in my mind. I thought the work that had been done was well done, and there were a couple of questions raised about the criteria, but using them, I'd like to use the criteria this time around.
Mayor Little?
Yeah, actually, I used the matrix to come to my final decision, so it was of use to me. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Shukin, did you have some comments?
Yeah, and no disrespect to your comments, Councillor Donaldson, and Councillor Gray's comments. I like the I too looked at the matrix and the scoring when I was going through my own thought processes. But the thing that, again, there are compelling missions from each of the group. I think they provide benefit to not only Metchosin, but the region as well. If we fund every group, we actually meet the targets essentially of 4 of the groups with small amounts, as well as contribute to the broader range of groups as well. And as you know, low on my list, I have to say, was the Vancouver Island Self Film and Media Commission. But we see what tremendous value there is in that organization. So at least we're providing some active contribution to their business plan and business goals. So, yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of funding number 3? Sorry. Can we have, sorry, show of hands again, sorry. Okay. And so I will oppose, and so that is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so I have a motion to adjourn the special finance meeting. Motion by Councillor Shukin and seconded by Mayor Little. Thank you very much.